Yes! Hey bros, how's it going? Chris Cohen here. You guys were awesome in the last episode and you were like Overwatch, Overwatch, Overwatch. And you guys listed all of them, so you guys are sick. And I'm very excited because we haven't done a Pixar style of like an animation in this series, so that's pretty cool. So I'm excited and I hope you guys are excited. Now, I love Pixar, like we grew up with like Toy Story and things like that, so I'm a big like kind of like sucker when it comes to like still to like animated like films, whether it is like How to Train Your Dragon or things like that, so I'm pretty pumped. Now, before we fire up the awesome cinematics, I have something cool for you guys. Today's episode is brought to you by Exter. If you love minimalism, as well as that kind of like vintage look when it comes to your wallet and accessories, then Exter is the place to be. They have an amazing array of products and they have that really cool minimal design as well as utility and that really high quality leather, whether it comes to the touch, to the smell and things like that. And I really like the products and their stuff. I'll have the link in the description because they also have a great sale going on right now. And if it's something that you want to give, for example, to your dad as a thank you, that is a great gift to do as well. Now, they don't just have wallets, they have a lot of stuff, and the other cool things that they do have, and I was like, that is really cool, is they have a tracker, kind of like card, that goes in your wallet, connects to your phone, and tracks your wallet, which I thought that was really sick. And the other cool thing that they have is a wireless battery bank that just charges your phone without a cable. So you can pop this baby into your bag and just charge your phone with a wireless battery bank, which was really cool as well. So a big thank you to them guys for sponsoring and bringing you today's episode. I will have their link in the description as well as the discount code so you guys can get some really cool stuff. And with that said, we're ready to fire up YouTube and check the awesome cinematics. So number one is Alive. So full screen and 1, 2, 3, go. Use of tobacco again. Blizzard, come on. I'm excited and I just can't.
When I was a girl, I had a fear of spiders.
Interesting.
I was told they felt no emotion, that their hearts never beat. But I know the truth.
So it's London. Man, there's just something special about animations. That's a cool design though. Oh, I think I know her.
Human, machine, we are all one within the iris. Before me I see the future, humans and Omnics standing together, united by compassion, while common hopes and dreams.
So she's like an assassin. I like the build-up. Here we go. Nice. Upside down kill? Oh, that's cool. Nice. Slow-mo.
Trying to crash another party, love?
So British. What?
Well, that's in the danger! Shooter on the roof! I repeat, shooter on the roof!
This is a secure channel. No one's on. Identify yourself immediately.
I mean,
All
you can
rooftop
hear the
teams,
bullets,
check and
mate.
clear. Halo is leaving. I repeat, Halo is leaving. Sir, there's been a breach. We need to leave now. Chariot, this is Team 1. Halo is coming in hot. Over.
Huh?
Oh, that was sick. Oh, here we go, boy. Ooh, one shot, yes. Nice. Yes.
Such a sweet, foolish girl.
No. She can reverse time for a few seconds. Oh, that was sick. Oh, that is crazy.
Looks like the party is over.
Why would you do this?
As usual. When I was a girl, I had a fear of spiders. I was told they felt no emotion, that their hearts never beat. But I know the truth. At the moment of the kill, they are never more alive.
Okay, Spider. What's your name? That was sick.
Overwatch. Pre-order.
And that was it. Oh my god, that was so good. Oh, I loved the section where they got like that one shot and she was just like going through. That was sick. Okay, I'm gonna zip it. We're gonna watch, what is the second one? Reunion. And then we're gonna dive into the analysis part. So 1, 2, 3, go. Oh, that is cool! Blizzard Entertainment presents Reunion. Texas. That's a cool song, actually. Oh, slimy. Route 66. Been there. What? Oh, that is too funny. Casual. cowboy? Always let it hit, guys. We all been there. That has like a Borderlands vibe, like it's like sci-fi, but also like Western.
We got trouble!
Hello. Oh, badass. This town. Dun, dun, dun.
Jesse McCree. Been a while. You promised you'd write.
Well, Ash. I've been kind of busy.
The classic
Pretty
smolder.
busy ourselves. So it's awful convenient you showing up today.
Yeah. You never been one to shy away from a good tip.
Hey, we worked hard for this score. You'd best move on now.
He's not gonna.
All I want is that crate. Everything else is yours.
This crate? Huh. Bob.
Bob? What is it?
Well, well. Now you got my attention. What is it?
Okay.
That's none of your business.
Bruh. It's gonna go
As
down.
I see it. Now it's very much our business.
Our business.
Doesn't always have to be this way, Ash.
Ash. Classic shot.
Apparently, it does.
Banter. Oh, is he gonna be like a badass? Like, how's he gonna take all of them down? Or does he have someone? Yes! That is hilarious. That's... Oh, they got the music. Nice. Bird's eye view. Everyone's just waiting. He's like... He's gonna make the move. Oil? Go.
Don't shoot!
That was cool.
Get something!
Looks like Bob got himself some upgrades.
Rock him out of there!
Yes!
Last chance for the crew! How's that your weapon?
All right, Ash. Here it comes.
Oh, shit!
Oh! Oh, that was sick! Of course you survived.
What the? McCree?
Sorry about that, Bob. No hard feelings.
Next time, Bob.
McCree! Hey! Untie me, McCree!
Say hi to the
I'm talking
gang
to
for
you.
me.
I will not be ignored! I'm gonna rebuild Bob, and I'm gonna have him rip off your other arm!
Oh yeah, he has a mechanical arm. Eyes, mate.
Hey there, cowboy.
Welcome back, partner.
Aww. What?
How long have I been gone?
Far too long.
The parallel
happened?
is really cool.
Well, that's a story for another time. But I got a call. They're getting the band back together. They want me. But really,
They want you.
they need you.
They need. Nice.
Jesse, wait. What are you going to do?
I've got some business to attend to.
Ash. Oh, that's cute.
Say hi to the monkey for me.
Monkey?
Scientist. Whatever.
Nice. That was sick. I trying to think which one was better, the first one or the second one. I mean, both were awesome, both very different. So, damn. Thank you so much, guys, for the recommendation. I loved watching this, and there's so many from what I saw. Let me know what your favorite part was below, as well as what you would like the next episode to be about. And let's just jump right into the analysis part and just go right through it. So, number one, go back to the beginning, full screen, and 1, 2, 3, go! Blizzard Entertainment presents.
When I was a girl,
So it's super cool that they use the exact same parallax at the beginning of the short instead of the narration, as well as what she repeats at the end. But now that I look at it for the second time, because it starts with the story of a spider, we start with the opening shot of a spider, which is super cool, and that is really interesting.
I had a fear of spiders.
But you are one, apparently.
I was told they felt no emotion.
So it's really cool how they reveal the environment through kind of like that like section where they have the very like rotating camera move. They show us the spider, and then through the blinds kind of thing we see there is like a futuristic version of London. So that is really cool, and I love the way that they use the colors here. Again, from previous episodes, as you guys know, we talked a lot about like color schemes and how when it is sci-fi they use a lot of blues, and then the opposite, which is like orangey colors, tones. And it's very interesting that only Big Ben has that like orangey glow to it in terms of the neon lights, and the rest is kind of like teal and blue.
That their hearts never beat. But I know the truth.
So it's interesting to note like the connection. Now obviously here they are really setting up kind of like an intense kind of like showdown that's gonna happen, and they keep things very secretive. Like they showed us her legs, but we haven't seen her yet. You know what I mean? But I want you to see how they transition to the next shot, which is really interesting. In the frame, you can see Big Ben, and then in the next shot, because they want to take us to the ground level with everyone else, they start with an overhead shot of the camera looking up to Big Ben and then going down to floor level. That is how they connect the two shots, because if you guys have noticed from previous Filmmaker Reacts episodes where we've seen the amazing cinematics, it's really good to link when you have to make a cut in order for it to not be like off-putting, let's say, to link between an action that happens within the frame. Let's say I've winged the sword, the next shot starts with a wing, and so the two are connected by the motion inside the frame. But here, we don't have much action happening yet, so how they cut is with the same element of the frame before and the frame after. See? So we go down to level as everyone else. She's very famous. I mean, I even know who she is. That says a lot, because I suck at online games. I'm sorry. Some really cool stuff. So again, through not much talk, we're just getting the sense that a very important figure is gonna give a speech, and there's a lot of like, you know, security going on. That is so cool. Oh, that is actually interesting. I want to talk to you guys about the 180 rule. So see how the camera rotates to look at the back, but we're kind of like lingering a bit to the side from this direction. When you cut, you have to be on the same axis in terms of, if you had like, let's say, if you put a line between, basically when the camera is on the side, as it is here, it's slightly on the side. So if you put a line, it segments the whole kind of like section into a circle. So that line that crosses from this side where the camera is creates a 180 rule. And basically it means you have to place the camera in the next shot within that 180 rule towards where the camera lingers to. You won't put it there because then it's going to be disoriented. So when you cut next, it has to be from that side, but still on the side of the line that creates the 180 kind of like degrees line. So if you look at the next one, we're still tilted, but we went from there to this side. We did not go to the opposite side, and that would be breaking the rule of 180. And that is used because if you, for example, have a conversation and you know the shoulders, how we look over the shoulders, you have to keep the same kind of like line between the two characters and move the camera only within that 180 rule space in order to not confuse the audience in terms of where the characters sit in relation to one another and things like that. There is a way to break the 180 rule, and usually it's used to shift kind of like the conversation dynamic. For example, if you start from my shoulder here and the camera move does not cut but transitions when the other guy says something very important in the story to my other shoulder, that is used to kind of like convey a sense of change in dynamic. Let's say with what he said, he got me, or with what he said, he gave me leverage. Things like that is cool ways to like think of these things. So we go up to reveal the character. Again, a slight tilt upwards someone gives them power and strength. A tilt downwards puts them in a bad, like not a position of strength usually. Cool. Everyone's excited. Love the colors, by the way. What a cool design.
Human.
See? Blue, orange.
Machine.
Contrast of color.
We are all one with before me I
So-
see the future.
That is interesting.
Humans and Omnics standing together, common hopes.
So she feels that something is off, and then we go back to the room with all the cool stuff. Now again, a very cool kind of like contrast in color is that when everyone's down there and the robot figure speaks, it's very warm. Like the color scheme is very warm, very goldish, very like light-hearted feeling. When we go up to the roof where our bad guy is, or in this case bad chick, everything is cold, blue, and darker. Cool. Because you have to keep in mind, like when you create an animated short film or film in general, you have full control over everything. Full, absolute control. Like it's a filmmaker's like dream to have control over every little aspect. Now it makes things hard because you don't actually see it and rendering takes forever, but you have full control. That is really cool. See how they play a lot with sound? Like when you have to like introduce a very like rapid movement, sound ramps up as well, and they have like risers or like wishes and things like that. See how they cut in this instance when she hits him? Like she gives a hit, the hit makes an impact, and then we cut to the other side where the hand does the same movement. That is what I mean by connecting two shots by the actions within the frame. It's usually really cool to do. I like how like they keep things like very like light-hearted, even though, you know, she's gonna kill someone. Sick. I love the music in this one. It's like very like sick. I'm actually surprised at this one. I would expect the camera to go like down with her. That is really cool, man. Oh, See, the thing about this one is that because everything is created digitally, you have the option to move the camera freely the way that you want. Because if they would try to replicate something like this in real life, man, the amount of wires and stunt doubles and the way the camera will have to be rigged, we're talking about like an insane amount of talent that it would take to kind of make the same camera movement. But I want you to focus on how like fluid everything is. It's like so fluid, the camera flies so effortlessly through space, and they can create these amazing transitions where she falls, slows down, the camera pans, and now we focus on the weapon over her shoulder. Like that. That is sick. And focus how the actual focus shifts as well. First, we focus on the gun, and as we approach her and look over her, the focus shifts to what she's looking, which is the window to get the guy. We have some awesome HUD. Now, these are really cool things, and I am working on a pack where I want to do like a sci-fi cyberpunk pack where you will have all these kind of like HUD overlays and like weapon kind of like sights and things like that, because I think they're sick. So this is animated CGI obviously, but we can do kind of like weapon effects when it comes to HUD and like sci-fi sites, quite streamline them in After Effects. I've actually done one, but it was very quick and it was quite a while ago, so we need to like get on it. And they use a cool zoom. Now the way you would do this is this. If you, let's say you were shooting something real and you have like a zoom lens, you can do it with a zoom lens, but also what you can do is just say change focal lengths and film the same thing, and then put all of those 3 clips, let's say you have 3 layers of zoom, wide, mid, super close up to get the headshot. You can just link those shots, have them in your composition, and then zoom in and out with the other ones, and because you're using the zoom and there's a lot of like radial blur effects, you can just transition exactly like this one. And it's very interesting when you're working with sides. Do you see the halo kind of like RGB split that happens? Now, this is not exactly realistic because most guns don't actually look like this when you look through the sides. Maybe some do actually, I don't know, I haven't tried all guns. But the cool thing is, usually when you are doing visual effects or anything and you're looking through something, whether it is glass, window, sights of a weapon, you put that RGB split on the outer perimeter of things to kind of like flare things up. It's a very slight effect, but it just goes like that extra step. That is cool. Party love. I love how cheeky and kind of like lighthearted this is. Like we've got some like dark stuff. Nice. I really like how it's very cool when you have the camera kind of like reflect what's happening in the frame. Like as she goes up through the zingy thing, she like rotates in her axis, and so the camera, and of course they can't do this because it would be too disorienting, but they have the camera rotating as well instead of just simply going up. There's so many little things that go into making these things have the impact on us, the viewers, that they do. See? It's gonna go up, and the camera rotates as well. Shoot her on the roof. Cool. It's a...
This is Team 1. Halo is coming in hot. Over.
Now, I've talked about Muzzle Flashes a lot. We've talked about them even in the last episode, which was the StarCraft reaction. I do have a very extended tutorial when it comes to gunshots and things like that, so I will... You know, it's on the channel if you guys want to know. I don't know, when I was young and I was like, James Bond, I was like, how to do a gunshot. So, if you guys want to know, there is a very extended tutorial on the channel. That's sick.
Huh?
Another thing to notice, because I've noticed this again when I had to create kind of like cinematic gunshots, the thing that I really had to focus on was sound design when it comes to the gun. Have you guys noticed how many times weapons make these awesome mechanical sounds, even though nothing is actually happening to them? If I ever have a gun and I do this, it will make a sound like metallic and things like that and cool things, which actually, if you have a gun and you do this in real life, nothing actually, like maybe you will hear some wind at best, but that's it. But in movies, everything extensifies to give the audience more feel and kind of like have them immersed in it. So if you guys hear when I did the gun thing, and here, if I go back a few frames, as she pulls out, yes, they are sci-fi guns, but they shouldn't just make this kind of like sound just because someone moved them. Listen. That. So another thing to keep in mind, how small things that actually are not realistic are used all the time, and how like they make the immersion for the viewer even more awesome. Huh? I love this. This is my favorite scene from this sort. Oh my god, that is sick! One shot, baby! Ooh. So, oh my god, that is just so sick. Where do I start? Like, you guys know John Wick, I'm sure. Love it. Keanu Reeves forever. The thing about one-shots is, when it comes to action, they can be so enthralling, but you have to make them right. And especially in real life, there is just like so much practice, and everything have to go perfectly in order to pull all of those off. And in terms of action, John Wick, I mean, it was done before, but John Wick really like streamlined it in the sense of like, this is how action should look like in the big screen, because you have a flowy camera movement following the character as it just like wreak havoc, and it's just like awesome, and the audience is like, oh, because when you cut, it can still be awesome, but there's just something about those one shots, mate, and they're just like sick. So I really love this one, because it just goes pop, 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 and in this one they can move the camera in such an unrealistic way, but we the viewers are so smart and we can follow, and they just can make so many cool things because it's all animation. See how sick. Oh, and I love the using music in this one. Now, if you noticed, our good characters' blasters shoot blue, and the bad chicks' blasters shoot orange. Another kind of like contrast in how they play with colors. I would have here shoot like purple, actually. That would be a bit cooler. That was sick. I was not expecting this because I'm a total noob. And no one's perfect, guys, okay? I am trying. If you want to let me know about the characters, I would love to know, by the way. It's just so cool for stories, and I wish I had more time to just play games, mate. But I love it. Nice, sick.
Such a sweet, foolish girl.
Oh my god, that's so cool. And everything ramps up. Me there, shot, baby. I love the use of slow motion when it makes sense. For example, here we need to slow everything down because he's falling and the main bad chick is gonna make the shot, and we need to like build up the like suspense. So slowing the time down and seeing like what's gonna happen, is me there, and things like that is really cool. Oh, and how sick is this, man? They did not cut, it's actually like a super zoom. Like we start at like super wide. This composition is beautiful, by the way. Look at this. Rule of thirds, this is 1/3. We can kind of see our character here. And then it doesn't cut, it just like ramps up, zoom in. And zoom. That is sick. You would have to use green screen, obviously, for this one in real life. But man, I love this shot. I just love this shot. And again, look at how cool like the color scheme is. You have the neon blue, the sci-fi, the little lens flares, and then here details are red. Sick. So she fires off. Oh my god, that is perfection. Just switching the perspective. Oh, that is just perfect, man. I have no words. That is just sick. And you have that little. And then the bullet perspective, very classic. Oh, you teleported, baby. Headshot. Fatality. I like how it is though. Like again, this is like very like PG-13. It's really cool. Bomb. Wasted. I've talked about this before actually. How when there is like a very like interesting death, when there's a very important death, it's usually you can do one of two things, like cut all the natural sounds and ramp up the music and just have the emotion play out, or you can cut the music and kind of like have just the scream because it's just like heart-wrenching, man. Here they actually do like kind of like the same. They kind of like slow down and they have the scream kind of not being like no, kind of. But if you notice, the soundtrack is very cut out. Like you don't actually listen much of the music when the scream happens because they just want you to focus on the tragedy of the scene. Then we have a riser and then we go back to real time. Why?
Looks like the party is over.
The music on this one is actually super good.
Why? Why would you do this?
Again, the 180 rule, guys, that we talked before. If you see here, go back. From this perspective, you create a line, and when you're going to switch shoulders, you need to be in the same 180 perspective, so you put the camera here, not the other side. Nani? Aww.
Hold they felt no emotion.
And now we get back as he leaves and she goes back to the original narration, which is interesting because in this one they do actually just narrate. Because in other episodes that we've seen, they did this thing where they blend the narration as if the narrator is actually talking to a character in a short film. So it makes it a bit more like interesting because you're like, usually narration is like a cheap trick to like give the audience info. But here it's like straight on narration, I think, to like you and me.
Emotion that their hearts never beat.
Sick. That was awesome. Cool. Let's go to the second one. I loved the other one was light-hearted, but it had a lot of like action and seriousness. This one is just like comedy and action, and I just love it. And again, they're gonna use the beatbox here to like put the title in as well as the song, because you guys have noticed this in bar scenes, I'm sure. If a character puts on a song, then that song becomes the song of the fight scene that's gonna come after with the bullies of the bar, and so they put in the song and then it starts and goes like beat, beat, boom, boom, boom. So that's really cool. Everyone's like, where's everyone? That is hilarious how they did that, man. Our focus is on this, and then the train is gonna go through and just like, it's like... Comedy, man. I'm not very good at being funny, but I am trying. I haven't done many funny things, but... the tip to no one, just because. So he goes out, very sick. This is an interesting way to transition things, actually. And I've noticed this, I remember back in the day I would play Uncharted 3. And when Drake, spoiler alert, fell off the airplane in the desert, they did this thing when they used the sun and the brightness of the sun to switch between scenes, but also indicate the passage of time. So when you like make everything bright, and then you make everything less bright to like basically play with exposure to shift kind of like the scenes is actually a really cool way, but usually to me it's used to also like transition time a bit, just like pass a bit forward. So we see what's happening.
Ash!
Ash. That's a cool name for a chick, actually. Ash.
We got trouble!
Oh, that is just like so awesome. I love like uber dramatic, over the top character reveal scenes, whether it is like a lone warrior coming out of the fire, or like, I mean, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, is like, he has some things in his portfolio now that he's just like the epitome of badassery, but like this scene is just like sick. How he comes up through the smoke and we have the particles. Nice. And keep in mind, we haven't seen the character yet again, so they do this thing where they start from the feet, and like I told you in other episodes, how like the character will step in frame, and then the camera will raise up to them, and usually they're like either, you know, turned around to us, and then they will turn very dramatically and do the thing, or they will be in this case with a hat, and then the hat will be just like perfectly aligned to the eyes, so we can see their eyes, and then they will do the thing, and we will
Jesse
see their eyes.
McCrae. Been a while. We're pretty busy ourselves.
You never been one to shy away from a good tip.
Hey!
So we get a lot of like banter between the two, which is cool.
All I want is that crate. Everything.
Bob.
Well. Now you got my attention.
So when you do a conversation scene, you usually have three main perspectives. You have the wide, when you show the relation between the two characters, and you position them again. If you segment the frame into thirds, you will put one in one side and the other one. Now, this is not used often, and usually it's just used for a few seconds, just to re-establish the distance or like the perspective of where the characters are in relation to another. And then what you do is you cut to close-ups and mids. Mids are the usual, where it is you can see your head and kind of like the chest area of the character. And then in very important moments, either whether they say a line or the expression of the face is very important, you will cut to a full like close-up, and it's just the face, you can see a bit of the hair, and then the neck, and that is it. So those three usually interplay. You have the wide, the mid, and the close-up. And again, keeping in mind the rule of 180, you don't cross that line. So, we're from this perspective.
For as I see it, now it's
And the perspective is the same in terms of that rule, like how we look at them.
very much our business.
So, this would be an example of an extreme, of like a close-up. It's not an extreme close-up, an extreme close-up would be the eyes opening up. So, this is a close-up. And usually when you're that close, it's very cinematic to have a bokeh. Bokeh is this like kind of like separation of the background and the foreground, and usually expensive cameras in real life can do this easy with the right lens as well, and they just create this separation field of blur, and it just makes things really cool. So if you ever wondered why if you take your phone and stick it in your friend's face, it doesn't look like a film, it's because of that, because phones' cameras are mostly meant to shoot wide kind of like landscape things. Even if you switch to telephoto, they do a pretty fair job of actually changing the lens and how the perspective of the lens captures things. But that is why what's usually missing is the correct focal length for a close-up of a face, as well as the blur effect that high cameras and sensors can provide given the correct lens and aperture value. We get technical now.
Doesn't always have to be this way, Ash.
I love this again, like how we said, like when you have this is an extreme low angle, and we saw the same in the Wrath of the Lich King from Warcraft, like such an extreme angle from like low down. It's like, I'm the boss. But the cool thing is when they switch to him, he has the exact same like extreme angle, so you're like both are kind of like equal, but
It does.
see how it's the same. This is pure comedy, by the way. How you just drag a scene out, and you need to be really good, man, to like when editing. Your timing is everything. So when you're stretching things out, it's really dangerous. But for comedic effect, it is awesome, and sometimes it works, and sometimes the audience goes, ah. But here it's very funny, and they did the Western thing with the whole thing. That is just funny, and they cut all the sounds. So I was like, purple, purple. That is just hilarious, man. That is A+. So here, isn't it funny how they build tension, but removing any kind of like tense sound, like whether it is a riser or like a by having no sound and just having people like waiting it out, it's actually building tension. We have the little wind, and then the bird's eye view. We've talked about this a lot. Who's gonna go? I mean, who thought of this? Really? Cause that is just like genius. Like the robot, not the actual guys, but the robot is gonna have a bit of oil going down his forehead. That is just hilarious, man. Now we have the heartbeat building up. See, that was an extreme close-up actually. Go back. It doesn't want to go back. Wait. Yeah. That is an extreme close-up when you have to like have Harry's scar, for example, or like the eyes. That's when you do like extreme close-up. So you have a wound or a gadget in the hand. You guys get what I'm saying. Sick.
Bob got himself some upgrades.
This is my favorite scene from this one. That is just like pure fun. Again, rule of thirds kind of the perspective. He's not even gonna look to. That's just like so funny, man. That is just so awesome. And I like how comically fast his hand goes. Like he looks the other way, and then his hand like perfectly goes like, boop, doof. That is so sick. And like his face, like, I got this. Boom. It's just like so funny. I like when I have to study something for filmmaking reasons. I just love putting it up and just going frame by frame, or like going slowly and just like trying to understand why those choices were made. Because if you understand, then you're thinking of how to put something together and use the same kind of techniques or blend techniques and things like that. So it's a really cool way to study things and kind of like understand.
Last chance, McCree! Toss out your weapon!
All right, Ash. Here it comes.
Oh, shit!
I love how they use the camera to like reflect the movement of in the perspective of the grenades themselves. So if you see in this section how the grenades fly towards the camera, and then we see switch from the grenades approaching the guys. See? It's just like, again, like perfect symmetrical composition, the guy being badass in the center and the explosions and stuff. I loved the inclusion of the shockwave dust, but the timing was like so cool, because technically the explosion, like the peak of the explosion already happened, because when an explosion turns to like smoke, the ignition part already happened. And he's not that far away, so realistically this will now occur, but it makes for such a badass scene where after the explosion is done, that's when the shockwave comes. In real kind of things, the explosion will happen like this, but here's like, and how he, like his cape, like sick. And they use it to cut to black and then open it up again. Sick. Oh man, those were so fun to watch. Oh! Okay, I know who you are now, Ash. Oh man, that was so fun. Like I said at the beginning, guys, kind of like I love watching Pixar movies or like animations in general, and they just have something special to it. So you guys were awesome. Let me know with what comes next, whether it is League of Legends, Final Fantasy X, what was it, 14? Yeah, 14. Trailers, because you guys told me there were some pretty cool there as well. I love Final Fantasy, but you know, I'm more like FF7, FF10, 15 was okay. So very excited to watch those as well. Like I said, League of Legends, and we have a ton more of these ones. So you guys let me know. Whatever gets the most kind of like recommendations, that's what we're gonna do. And yeah, thank you for all your support, guys. I hope you enjoyed yet another episode of Filmmaker React, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Until then, stay awesome and creative.